Welcome, friends! Today I'm sharing with you a sequel to How to Fill Up Empty Books. So, I don't know about you, but I have loads of empty notebooks, beautiful books that I just collect here and there. Sometimes I get them because they're so beautiful and they call out to me. Sometimes I get them because I have a certain idea or use for them. And sometimes I get them for no reason at all. So they sit on my shelf for a little while until I get a new inspiration of how to fill them up. So here I wanted to share just a few of them with you. I've divided this video into 3 different sections, 3 different types of books. The first one is using agenda books, any books that have dates or little sections for each day. The next idea is how you could maybe use lined books. And the third idea is how to use white paper notebooks. These are books with just plain white paper in them. So starting off with how to fill up some agenda books. For our first one, I have here my little confidence log. This is where I track my confidence steps. Whenever I'm learning something new or challenging myself in some way, I love to keep a record and some way to track my steps. And I love that it has just one little section each day, and each day I write one little thing that I've done to track my confidence. So it can be some physical steps, some mental steps, some emotional steps, anything that helps me in that direction, make a little bit of progress, and keeps me motivated to continue onwards. Each day I try to find something different and new. The second agenda book I've made is a little reflection for each day of the year. It's got the months, and each day has just one line. I started this book last year, and each day I gave myself one little phrase with some blanks. And this year, the way I use it is taking a moment to reflect on that phrase and thinking about it. It's kind of like my little meditation time. So, for example, the subtle pleasures of all kinds call for my ... So that day, while I sip my coffee, I would just sit down, reflect, and meditate about how I would answer that for today. Let's check on today's. We are August 27th. I accept that blank, blank, blank is good enough for me. So I accept that imperfect is good enough for me, that starting is good enough for me, that continuing is good enough for me. So I'm relating this to filming my video here. I'm not going to wait for the perfect moment when I feel ready. I'm just going to start. So I love this book, and it's my little joy. Each morning I wake up to it with my little drink, and I just sit still and listen to what my heart wants to tell me in this moment with this little phrase. The next idea of how to use an agenda is using it for notes to self. Again, it doesn't have a very big space, so I can limit it to just a few lines. It just takes 5 to 10 minutes to write myself a little pep talk, a little note, what I really need this moment, this day. Sometimes it's relating to my physical needs, sometimes to my emotional needs, sometimes relating it to an experience that happened. Let your creative ideas stretch beyond where it's deemed useful, and then it will turn to joyous and playful. Every day, part of filling up these books is kind of like a little therapy work for me. The next section is lined notebooks. Here are a few ideas and ways that I use my lined notebooks. Starting from the smallest, here I've called this one playful acronyms. So I love challenging my brain a little bit and finding acronyms for different words that speak to me that I want to work through. Maybe something that I'm experiencing at the moment. I wrote myself a little acronym for each month relating to a specific topic. We are the month of August, and my theme for this month is positivity. A for acknowledge my blessings, uplift my mindset, ground myself into gratitude, uncover positive practices, smile more, time to say thank you. And anytime I think of a little acronym, usually I add them to a certain journal, but I wanted to find them again, go back to them, remind myself of them. So I decided to put them all in one place so that I can easily refer back to them and enjoy them. The next lined notebook is my simplicity log. So this is a little bit kind of like the confidence tracker. And this time I decided to log how I've been learning and what I've been doing to simplify my home, my life, my mind. And it really helps me to be attentive and also consciously intentional about working on this area, about simplifying. And I chose a little notebook. That way, it doesn't have to be too overwhelming. I can fill it up how I want. There's something so beneficial about keeping a little log. The next beautiful book is a fluffy teddy bear book, is what I call it. And I've made this one my gratitude book. I love this book. It's got beautiful yellow pages, also lined, so it's easier to write in. And I've divided it into different categories related to gratitude: appreciation, approval, admiration, attention, affirmations. And this is kind of like a few books into one. A gratitude book has so many benefits to writing in it and coming back to it. My next lined book is what I've called Pages to Progress. So this is kind of like a little study book. Every time I read a book or study a book, I have my little journal to go along with it. I even divide it up with little washi tapes. That way I know where the next chapter comes. This is where I kind of ask myself questions, how to personalize things from the book. Maybe I have questions that I don't understand yet, and then it gets clear as I read the book. Maybe there are extra things that I want to include. I put a little promise of commitment. I put some definitions that I want to remember, how I'm growing in a certain area. I feel that the way I can best grow and learn is by taking action, and writing it in a journal is a way that I start taking actions. I might list my first action steps, I might list my feelings. Sometimes I find a reframing tool. I include some affirmations. Then I try to question myself about everyday life. How can I personalize this book to everyday life? And I always love to add a little bit of doodles here and there just to make it fun and welcoming to come back to. Here's a new book that I just started. It's also Pages to Progress because I'm studying a new book. I've made it a little bit differently. This one I'm just using washi tape. The next type of books is white paper notebooks. So these are some of my favorites, I think. Here are just a few ways that I like to use them. So the first one is a small little ring notebook. And once in a while, I've included pictures for different seasons. Here is where I kind of do my brain dump about something that I'm going through, something difficult that's happening in my life. At the bottom are my lows, and usually this is what I start with. Sometimes I write down what it's related to. Sometimes it goes just all over the place and everywhere. Sometimes I type them up because it's quicker to do so. Here was my latest one for today. I'm feeling drained. I'm frustrated. I'm impatient. I'm a bit upset at myself. I'm a bit worried. Then, after feeling all these lows, I get to decide how I want to feel. And sometimes it's just comes naturally after the end of the page. By that time, I'm just like, I'm feeling ready for something new. I have more practice now to film again. Each video becomes a tiny bit better than the last. Learning patience is always a good thing. It's exciting to experience something new. It's a confirmation of my chosen path. I'm trusting the outcome of my decisions. I'm learning not to care about certain things so I can care about the important things. I love coming back to these little joys after reminding myself of the lows. It tells me that there is the flip side, and it tells me that after I pay attention to this, I'm ready to move on to the next thing. My next empty book, I've called this one my Happy New Year. I love starting the year in some different way. On a blank book like this, what are my highlights from last year? What were some of the hardest points? What have I learned about myself the past year? Then here and there, I've included different pockets, places to write some more, and I've answered and journaled all about these questions. What am I going to start doing? What am I going to continue doing? What can I do to take the first step in that direction? And another little note to self for the new year. So I love these little yearly books. They're small and short. I can fill them up however I want. It kind of helps me set goals for the year. And it's something that I can easily come back to and remind myself of. Tying along with that one, I have made myself a dream journal. So when I have a particular wish or dream or goal, I also like to create myself a journal just about that one. I started this with my month of curiosity challenge. I've divided up my journal into different aspects of the dream, the far distant dream, planning and calculating. So, a dream is not just something to dream. To me, a dream is also taking steps of actions towards it. So, that's when this book became my little steps to action, making decisions about it. My dream was finding a new house. And this is how I kind of helped it come into being, putting it on paper. The cool breaks, packing spree, checking points, self-overwhelmed, we're moving, camping out, slow steps, and then what's next. So these are also little details about our move, helpful things I want to remember. I'm going to move. And it all started with a dream. So this is another way that you might want to use up a book, a specific dream, or maybe listing different dreams and wishes that you have. I think a great way to use up a book is for a travel journal. It's so fun to go back to. I've gathered and collected some memories and snippets from magazines and different places that we visit, alongside some photos of us as a family, and just jotting down little things, questioning ourselves. What 5 adjectives come to mind first from our trip? What was a surprising or unexpected gem you stumbled upon? How did this trip push you out of your comfort zone? How did it help you grow? And we all took turns to answer the questions. I think a travel journal is not just wonderful for keeping memories, but it's also helping you to learn something from it and experience something different the next time. Another way to use up empty books is just doodling. Sometimes I have an idea. Sometimes I'm reading something and I want to have some visual reminder of it. So I will doodle about it. Some favorite things, mental health day I wanted to give myself, some family traditions, life's little things, some benefits of mixing art with my self-care. So these are just in pencil. I haven't added color or ink. Practicing compassion. So these are just also little life lessons and things that I wanted to remember and come back to. This is one of my most recent starts. It's a journal for my mind mapping. And I started with why a mind map journal and how a mind map helps. Here are some ways because, and here are some ways when, and some map check ins, some specific questions that I want to ask myself as I'm creating a mind map, and then some ideas of maps. And then I started with one. I have this side that I can add some little extra notes. So here are all different types of mind maps. This is a little funnel, triangle one, focusing on some dailies. This is focusing on my tea parties. This is tracking my tasks at home, PayHip membership. So I also create mind maps to help myself make a decision. It just helps to bring clarity. I kind of divide it up. Okay, why do I want to do this? How do I want to do this? And then I can decide if I want to do this. This is another one about journals, how I want to share them, how I can share them, how I can build my little community here close by home, in person, my business focuses. These mind maps bring so much clarity and help me get real detailed and practical. That's what I love about a mind map journal. Another way I use a blank page notebook is for doodles and sketching. It just kind of calms me down. Sometimes it's to get some ideas down, some inspirations down. If you're creative, I think it's a wonderful thing to have a little art journal, sketch journal. My last but not least, it's another big empty book. This one I've called it my hobby book. This past year, my hobby has been to host and plan tea parties. So that's what this book is all about. Anytime I found a beautiful picture from a magazine related to tea parties or table decors, I put it into this book. It started off as just a plain white paper book, and now it's full with all these beautiful pictures that called out to me. As I was creating it, every time I thought of a little idea of things that we could do during our tea parties, I wrote them down. A hobby could be related to art, could be related to cooking, gardening. I think the next one I want to do is about gardening. Anyway, this one has been so much fun to make. Whenever I need a little moment of play, I just come back to this journal. I doodle or I craft in it, I glue some more pictures down, or I think about more ideas of how I could host a tea party. So I hope that maybe you'll be able to take one of these ideas and enjoy them for yourself. Let me know in case you'd like a more detailed look of one of these books that I've shared here, and maybe I'll make a video of them. See you next time with new journaling ideas. Bye for now.